Randy McKee here with Soccer 605, and I am here with, as you know, one of my favorite soccer players on the entire planet, Karlie Mueller with Texas A&M, Sioux Falls native, Roosevelt High School alum. Thanks, Karlie, again for being with us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
You know, this is our, third or fourth visit now?
Yeah.
And it's always great for me to, and I think a lot of the people watching, especially the girls, to kind of get your perspective on what that next level looks like. Mm-hmm. You know, we talked with you last summer when you were at camp, at the U.S. Women's National Team camp, and you've had an incredible year in soccer since then.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, from getting called up to the U20s and spending 10 days in California with the best players in the country and the best players in the world, and then to come back and kind of relax for a little bit in the summer, and then get down to Texas, get to work, and have the most successful season in school history. So. Well,
and you might say come back home and get a little rest, but I think you kind of landed here and off to Texas.
Yeah, it was a quick transition, but it's always good to come home to South Dakota and hang out with friends and family and just kind of enjoy those moments.
You know, you're one of the players that has achieved that higher level. That I mean, you're still pretty young, but you still remind us all the time how deep your roots are here in South Dakota.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I grew up. This is where I developed the most as a player, and I owe it to all my coaches growing up, Brandon Barkis, Clay Glasgow, Tim Christian, all of those people helped me become the player I am today, and they are the reason I am where I am, and South Dakota will always be my home, and I will always be so grateful that I grew up here and grew up in this soccer community, and it's just always nice to come back home and see how much it's grown, and see all the young players and all of that. So it's just a pretty neat deal to see how South Dakota soccer has grown over the past few years.
Yeah, and we're getting more and more players around who are getting bigger and better recognition. Mm-hmm. I think you're still probably at the top of the pyramid in terms of the level that you've played at it, but we have a lot of players who are working toward that. Mm-hmm. and a lot of organizations that are trying to help them.
Yeah, and that's great. It's so awesome to see how all these players have developed, and I may be very successful with my soccer career and all that, but I think it's just great to be able to know that I was one of the ones amongst a couple others who kind of started that and put South Dakota on the map with soccer, and I'm just glad that I can be one of those people that these kids look up to and just know that, oh, she is from South Dakota and she can be doing these things that she's doing, and so I can do that, and not let being from South Dakota kind of hold them back from that.
That's not an excuse anymore, is it? But you and honestly, you had to make some other sacrifices to get to that level too. Mm-hmm. I mean, you didn't have the comfort of staying in your hometown to play club soccer, but that move you made mm-hmm. into Nebraska club soccer and becoming Region 2 champions and all that stuff, I'm sure had a massive difference in the level that you had to be able to play at.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I moved to Toro, which is now Elite Girls Academy in Nebraska, my sophomore year of high school, and we commuted down there 2 or 3 times a week, and it put a lot of stress on me and a lot of stress on my family, but it was definitely worth it in the long road. And I think if this is what you want to do, if you want to play Division I soccer at a high level, if you want to be on the national team, if you want to make a career out of it, you have to have some sacrifices. And at the time, it might seem like a lot of work, and you might just question, why am I doing this? Like, this is just so much. But in the end, it all pays off, and I don't regret anything about that. And, I'm just glad that I kind of set that in motion, and some other players might be thinking about doing that, or just getting out of your comfort zone is really ultimately what you have to do. And I think a lot of players here in South Dakota are willing to do that.
I've talked to a lot of players over the years, and one of the things that seems almost universal is when players try to get up to that next level, they have to, like you said, you have to leave your comfort zone. But a lot of times that comfort zone is a comfort zone that others have carved out for you. And I know that I know a lot of players who've gotten criticized and browbeaten because they left their club to go to a higher level. And I've always really been against that. But did you have to endure any of that when you were doing that?
I mean, I think a little bit. It was just, my team had always been together. I mean, since we were 4 years old, it was the same girls and the same team. And so it was a hard transition to leave those girls. And I mean, at the time we were 14 and 15, and I mean, there's already so much drama with 14 and 15-year-old girls anyways.
Well, and sometimes it's not just with the players. A lot of times it's with the parents as well.
Yeah, and I think, everyone handled it as best they could, and the people that supported me, I mean, fantastic. The people that didn't, I mean, what can you do,
Yeah.
I grew up in a family that we have everyone else's best interests at heart, and my parents have my best interests at heart, and that was the best move for us, and so that's what we needed to do. And we loved all the support that we got, and the people that didn't support me, I mean, it was kind of, I mean, it was a given, it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But in the end, that's what was best for me.
One thing that's almost universal in all the really successful people I know is that they never, ever, ever let someone else define their success. They always went out and defined it themselves, and that's exactly what you've done.
Exactly.
So, right after we talked last time, and you headed right back to Texas A&M, and you guys started working in the summer. Before school started, before soccer, you kind of organized, most of the team was there, as I understand.
Yeah, I mean, we had pretty much the entire same team we had in the spring. We had 3 of our 4 freshmen this year come in early last spring, so we had our entire team minus 1 freshman. So, we had all been together since January. And, I think that was a really big advantage for us. And so we came in after the 4th of July, like we normally do, and did workouts, played some pickup games, just, got everyone just back together again, and kind of just picked up where we left off. And we just went to work, and, August rolled around and preseason started, and we started strong and we ended strong, and so it was definitely a great season. And it all starts in the summer when we all get down there and get back together and just kind of have fun for a little bit, and do the workouts, just play some pickup before we get into the real serious stuff.
You mentioned the freshmen being there, and I'm sure that having been one yourself and knowing what they go through, because it's hard, boy. Even if you're coming from a top ECNL club, it is hard going to D1, especially at the level you guys are playing.
Yeah.
Do you guys go out of your way in the team to help those girls adjust, or do you just say, look, it's we're going to throw you in the water and you're going to either swim or sink? How does that work one way or the other?
I mean, we definitely help them out, and it's not just the soccer part that they're all nervous for, it's the school part too. And, every freshman feels the same way. And so for those girls to come in early, they came in at 17. And so, they weren't even allowed to vote yet, and they're in college. And so, it's really it's good for them to come in the spring, and they have 5 months to just kind of get used to everything and settle in. And, it helps having all these girls that have been through it. And, this year we had another freshman come in early who is actually one of my roommates. And so, it's just been great to have her there and kind of show her the ropes of everything. And, she's become one of my closest friends. And I think it really pays off to come in early, and whether that's January of the spring before or even in July, and just kind of get your feet wet and just know what's coming, like what you have to look forward to. And we all take summer school and then have like pickup games and stuff, so they kind of get the rhythm of what it's like to be in school and have soccer. And so it's really good preparation for people to come in early and do that.
You know, my friends who are, and I've got several good friends, D1 coaching on the women's side, and you know, the one thing that is that they're talking about a lot is that ECNL has really made a big difference in how they recruit players, how they're able to find them in a little more concentrated area, and find those 4 or 5 players every year that are going to make a difference. And I think we're seeing that across the country, where true freshmen are stepping in there and actually having an impact right away.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Just thinking about our freshmen this past fall, you know, every single one of them was capable of being a starter and playing 90 minutes. And, you know, when I grew up playing club soccer, we didn't have ECNL. You know, we had the MRL and the National League, and you know, ECNL has just really kind of taken over everything. And I think that's the major thing right now in the nation for club soccer. And you can definitely tell the just like the skill set and the dedication and the physical part of everything that college soccer kind of requires. Is ECNL is really preparing these kids for the next level and playing at the top schools. And you just look around the country and just think of the Final Four. I mean, there was plenty of freshmen on the field during those games, and I think that's a really, really neat thing to see, how these players are developing at such an early age, and they're really being prepared for the next level.
You know, you probably don't realize this, but you just said one of the things that kind of makes you an old timer already. And like what you were saying, when you were coming up through the club system, there was no ECNL.
Yeah,
you know, that's one thing us old timers are always saying. Well, we didn't have that back then. Blah blah blah. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of but I think it's really neat that the soccer people out there said, well, we're going to circumvent some of the barriers, and we're going to go create this league. And I think you know, it's going to make women's soccer even more competitive and better for the country even.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's been really beneficial for all the college programs around the country.
So you march through the season. You know, you're just hammering everybody. Had a couple little bumps in the road.
Yeah.
But did when you started out, I mean, looking around at you and your teammates, your coaching staff, the competition, did you have a realistic expectation that you were going to be conference champs, SEC champs?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, we set that back my sophomore year. Right at the end of the season, we lost 2 seniors, and so we just kind of looked around and we were like, this is our team. Like, we were conference champions and tournament champions my sophomore year, and we just looked around and we're like, we are the same team. And we lost 2 crucial players, but we are gaining 4 more. And so, you know, that was just kind of expected, honestly. We just sat down and we said, you know, we're going to win the conference and we're going to win the conference tournament. And that's, you know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That was kind of solidified 8 months prior to that. And so then that's when we were like, this year, like, this is our year. We're going to go to the Final Four and we're going to try and win a national championship. And so starting in January, that's what we worked for. And once the season started rolling around, you could just feel it amongst the team and amongst the players, that everyone had the same mindset and everyone was confident that we were good enough to do that. And so, you know, that's what we went out and did.
You know, it doesn't matter, you know, if you're at the pro level, D1, or any level, even teams that end up winning the conference in a lot of games, it's never the perfect season all the way through. And so you must have had some rough spots during the season that kind of stick out, that the team had to really get together and say, look, we're not going to tolerate this. We've got to move forward. What were a couple moments during the season where you had to do that?
I mean, I think that every team goes through that. And, you know, there's always I mean, you have a group of 21 girls. There's always something bound to happen. And, we have crucial players get injured and stuff like that. And so there isn't any moments that really stick out in particular. But, I mean, we did have players that were injured. I mean, I was out for 2 weeks. Our starting goalkeeper was out for pretty much most of the season.
Well, let me jump in there about when you were out, because I mean the injury you had was a serious injury, and I remember back as a college athlete, one of the things that me and all of my teammates were constantly at, where we were pushing ourselves to get back in and play hurt, because I mean, look, literally everybody, by the middle of the season, everybody is hurt.
Oh yeah.
And some are injured, and there's a lot of pressure, I think, from the medical people, from the coaching staff to heal. But as a starter and as a competitor, you're saying, I am not going to be out long enough for somebody can have my job. And was any of that going through your mind?
I mean, that's a constant thing, especially with a team that is this good. You need to show up to practice every single day and just know that you are not guaranteed that spot. You have people that are fighting for your spot every single day.
Even you?
Yeah, even me. Yeah. We just have so many talented players that can play in different positions. And so, when I was injured, I mean, it always goes through your head that you're like, oh man, this really stinks. Like, what if I lose my spot? That kind of thing. And, that I think that's what pushed me more to, do my rehab and do my treatment and all of that so I could get back as fast as possible. And when I did get back, just know that I'm going to have to fight for my spot. I'm going to have to earn it back. It's not just going to be given to me. And, that's kind of the mindset for everyone on our team. And, I think that's what makes us the best team possible, and what kind of separates us is that we know we're competing for our spots, but at the same time, it's a very friendly environment. And, there's no, I don't like this girl because we're fighting for the same spot. There's none of that on our team. We just don't have players like that. And I think that really helps our success.
That comes down a lot from the coaching staff, doesn't it? I mean, everybody has a role there.
Yeah.
Everybody in the team.
For
and
sure.
So the best coaches help their players understand what their role is, and to help them get through that, because, like you were talking about, the kind of team you're in, everybody there is a star.
Yeah.
And wherever they came from, and and they all have potential to be a star right there in that team.
Yep.
But not everybody can be. So.
Yeah, and I think I was really lucky with the 3 coaches I have down at A&M that they recruit not only very good soccer players but just good people, and that's a big advantage for us. Is we have very talented players, but we also have players that are dedicated, and they have such big hearts and are so friendly, and it truly is a family environment down there.
Well, let's jump to the end of the season. Now we're in the tournament. Here comes Arizona, and you guys put a big thumping on them.
Yeah.
I mean, the everything must have just worked right that game.
Oh yeah, and we played Arizona in preseason, and we tied them. We were at their place, and it was our first tie. We had been winning all of our games, so that was a big turning point in the season where we were just like, we shouldn't be losing these games. We shouldn't be tying these games. These are definitely games that we need to be winning. And so when we saw that we had Arizona again, it was great, because we're like, we get some revenge and really show them what Texas A&M is all about. And they didn't see the real Texas A&M in August. And so, that game just came up. We were all fired up, and, I think we were up 5-0 at halftime or something. And, we just wanted to make a statement, because there are people out there that were like, yeah, Texas A&M has been on a good run, but it's going to end. It always does. And so we really wanted to prove to everyone that we're not the same team we were 2 months ago, and we're not going to let Arizona get in our way of winning a national championship.
Yeah, and you didn't, that's
And
for
we
sure.
didn't.
And then let's see, you moved on to the next game. Was that Penn State or Notre Dame?
Notre Dame,
Okay.
and yep.
And you won that game 2-1. Now,
Yep.
that's a quality soccer team you beat 2-1. I mean, Notre
Yep.
Dame has a very, very good women's program.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a pretty good battle for you guys.
It was. It was 1 in the afternoon in Texas, so of course it was blazing hot, and you know, we were just so excited to have Notre Dame come to our place. We were so excited to be at home. You know, when we got that 1 seed, it was just kind of a weight lifted off our shoulder to know that we would be able to play at home in front of the 12th man throughout the entire tournament. And so yeah, I mean, we went up 1-0 before halftime, and then they came back and tied it 1-1, and you know, so many emotions going through our heads, and 8 minutes left, Karlie Mueller just scored a freaking laser into the back of the net, and that's, you know, we knew we had it.
Yeah.
We knew we had it at that point because the momentum was all with us, and at that moment we knew that everyone was in it. The fans, the players on the bench, everyone on the field, and you know, we held on for dear life for 8 more minutes, and we finally beat that barrier that we haven't been able to cross for the past 5 or 6 years, and made it to the Elite Eight. So,
You know, speaking of 12th man, I mean, we literally, even in the Soccer 605 world, I mean, I just loved it when you're out on tournament and you're representing that day and you put that picture up with your Soccer 605 shirt. Like, and we have had people all over the world doing that. We had Brian and Anna Bondi wore theirs at the World Cup last year
so
in Brazil.
cool.
So
Yeah.
So I mean, that really, and you know, those posts that Carol put up on Facebook and the stuff had some of the biggest reach of any we did all year, because you know, and I'm sure you probably feel a little bit of the 12th man for back here at home or in the Soccer 605 world, because we feel like we are.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. I know the support that I have from everyone back here at home, and it's just great to know that after all these years, I still, you know, have people that are like, oh, Karlie Mueller, that's the one that plays at A&M. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I have people that'll randomly message me or text me, I saw your game on ESPNU, like from home, like they're people from home, and so it's just really great to know that I have support not only from the 12th man in Texas, but the 12th man here in South Dakota.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It is. It's very cool.
All right, so you fight off Notre Dame, probably some of the 8 craziest minutes in your career.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But then, you know, it doesn't get any easier because you got Penn State rolling into town then.
Yeah. The following Thursday or Friday, you know, Penn State came in, and again, we're at home, and there had been a lot of hype around College Station area and Aggie Land, and you know, that the soccer team has made it to the Elite Eight, and wanted as many fans out there as possible, because you know, they have such a big part in our success. And so you know, that game was just that was crazy. It was honestly one of the craziest games, and you know, we ended up winning 2-1, and I mean, Penn State is a very, very quality team, and so you know, we really we sat down as a team, and we were like, we need to all be on the same page and know that we can beat them, because you know, the team is just so much stronger when everyone has the same goal, and when everyone is confident that we can accomplish this, we can do this, we can make it to the Final Four. And so that really, really helped. And you know, after that final whistle blew, it was just like the whole stadium went crazy. There was fireworks. Like, it was definitely one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Yeah, it's always nice to have all those people in that live environment.
Yeah.
So then you move into the semis, and what was the feeling was there a lot of butterflies and stuff when you
I
went
think it was kind of mixed emotions. It was very cool to be able to go to Boca Raton and, just experience all of it. Experience the press conferences, the banquet, and all of that, just to actually finally be able to say, like, we went to the Final Four, we got to experience these things, and kind of, put Texas A&M in a bigger picture. And, before the game, I think a lot of us were nervous, but I mean, that's normal. Everyone gets nervous before big games, and we just kind of turned those nerves into energy, and, we played as hard as we could, and unfortunately we didn't get the result that we wanted, but we were there for 3 or 4 days, and we just enjoyed every day that we had, because we knew whether or not we won on Friday and won on Sunday, or lost on Friday, our season was going to end in the next week, no matter what happened. And so we were just enjoying every moment we had together as a team, and because we had been through so much, being pretty much the same team in the last 2 years. So it was just a really cool experience to be able to accomplish those things and make Texas A&M proud while doing the thing we love the most with our best friends by our side.
And I watched quite a bit of your soccer and somehow found out how to, get in there and watch it during the season. But, the thing that I enjoyed the most of the last game was having those ESPN announcers talking about our girl, Karlie. Because, they had some great things to say about you that last game. And, I mean, it didn't surprise any of us how they loved the way you got up the field, how your passes were so accurate, and you were always finding a teammate, and how tough you were going back, even though you're probably one of the smallest players on the field.
Yeah.
That didn't matter. I mean, but it was wonderful to hear those full-time professional announcers talking about you like that, because that kind of validates our understanding of what a quality player you are.
Yeah, that's, I never hear what the announcers say about me, obviously, but, it's really cool to have someone like Julie Foudy, who I have grown up and looked up to her, and so, just to have her compliment me and all these other announcers just complimenting me, because I'm just doing what I do best. I get forward because that's what I like to do, and I'm a tough player because that's just who I am. So it's cool to have people from home, and my parents not being able to make it to some games, just to hear what other people have to say, and just how cool it is that this player from South Dakota is accomplishing the things that she is. So
yeah, that's awesome.
It's cool.
So, probably, on the one hand, disappointed that the season was over, but very proud on the other hand, setting the record at Texas A&M, doing more than the team had ever done before. And so now you're looking ahead to next year.
Yeah.
And, what's the prognosis?
This past year we lost 9 seniors, and we get 9 freshmen. So, I'm just excited to get those girls here in the summer with the team, and we're going to be a completely different team, and that's totally fine. I've experienced it all, and so it's going to be cool to end my time at Texas A&M with a completely different team and a completely different dynamic, and we have some very high quality players coming to join our team in the fall, and so I'm just really excited to see how it's all going to play out, and we're just going to take it one game at a time, and our goals are still the same. We are still capable of being the top team in the country and winning a national championship. It's just going to be a little more difficult to start off once we get everyone in. But I have no doubt that these players are going to come in and make Texas A&M another fantastic team, and we're going to compete for the highest trophy. So.
Well, one thing about successful players and successful programs and successful people, they always try to have that target on their back, because that means the rest of them are behind you.
We love that. We love having a target on our back, and we know we have a huge target on our back now in the SEC, winning 4 rings basically in the past 2 years, and then making it further than any SEC team in the tournament. And so we have a huge target on our back, but we've always had that. And so we're ready for the fight, and I'm just looking forward to another season with Texas A&M.
So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm gonna it's gonna be kind of a bittersweet season for me, because I don't know what your next step is, but let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody has a future. As women's professional soccer expands, probably looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, someday down the road, you're going to be a highly sought after coach. You're probably thinking a little bit about that.
Maybe a
So
little.
what do you think is, if you could write your perfect future after your career at the college level, what would you be doing?
Well, I have a couple options. I just kind of have to see how the season pans out, see how my body's holding up. But I would definitely like to try and play professionally, whether that's here in the U.S. or somewhere else overseas. I had 6 teammates that went into the Women's Professional League this year, and all of them are they're just enjoying everything. And starting to play soccer at 4 years old, it's hard to believe that my career could end in 8 months. But I'm just gonna enjoy everything, and put my name in the draft, and see what happens. If I end up playing, that's great. If I don't, it's been one heck of a run. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. The options are there. Just kind of have to sit down and decide what I really want to do. But ultimately, on the school side of everything, I'm a health major, and I have plans on going to nursing school once I'm done. And so, just kind of have to play it by ear and decide what I want to do. But to play professional soccer, that's been a dream of mine since I was little, and it's right there, and I have the option. So, I'm gonna just, like I said, take it one day at a time and kind of figure out what I want to do, and everything will pan out as it's supposed to be. So.
Well, you have an unlimited amount of good to offer. So wherever you land, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Karlie, I've asked you about as many questions as I came here thinking about. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, not really. I'm just kind of, enjoying my time at home, and it's always good to meet with you and catch up and talk soccer and all that. So. Okay.
Well, thanks again for taking the time to be with us on Soccer 605, and we've got one more fantastic season to watch you, and at this point, I always love watching players who I can still call you a kid, but see what you do when the playing's done. I think that you'll probably be playing professionally. And like you say, at that point, it kind of depends how your body holds up, because it gets rougher as you go up.
Yep, I definitely feel, I'm 21 years old, but I feel like I'm in a 60-year-old body right now, so, yeah.
Well, folks, thanks for checking in with Karlie and me this morning. Thank you, Karlie,
thank you so
for
much.
being so gracious with your time.
Of course.
And we'll be back with you. We're going to have a big year planned for you in Soccer 605, even up to live casting a lot of games this year.
Sounds
good.
So
we're going to be doing stuff we've never done before.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Karlie.
Yep, thank you.
And thank you for watching Soccer 605.